Hello, everyone. I'm LeiLani Cauthen, the CEO and publisher at Learning Counsel News Media and Research. Glad to have everyone with us today. This event is the virtual digital transition discussion for Nashville, Tennessee. We're super excited to be with them again and hear all about what's going on in Nashville, as well as, present a couple of workshops we'll be doing, one today and one tomorrow, that are really about learning leadership versus systemic inequities. And then the other one is really about managing our overburdened teachers, which is what we're hearing all across the nation. Teachers have been overwhelmed. They're exhausted all their supplies of adrenaline, and they're exhausted right now. So let's get started here. Let me just make sure we do a little house cleaning. Take a break at any time. Keep the browser tab open for the event and come back. Ask questions or make comments anytime. Raise your little digital hand or type in chat. And then we want to thank our sponsors. We have ClassLink, D2L, Randa, VitalSource, and Learning.com. And a couple of those companies are going to share later. There's a lot of big news coming out of the professional commercial side. We want people to be aware of what's happening because it is transforming the schooling landscape. All right, so this is our agenda for today. We'll have first with us several folks now from Metro Nashville. I'm going to introduce you guys in a second. Then we'll do a lunch and learn with ClassLink, another lunch and learn with VitalSource, really big news from them. Then I will go over the learning leadership versus systemic inequities data, all of the survey and research information, as well as the 8 models of learning now schools are employing. Then we'll have Clarksville and Montgomery share. Then we have a video showcase. And then finally, a guest panel, which I believe will also include Dr. Lakisha Brinson, who's first up today. So let me introduce the 4 of them. We have with us Dr. Lakisha Brinson, who's the Director of Instructional Technology and Library Services for Metro Nashville. Giumarra Duhart, Coordinator of Instructional Technology. Lindsey Kimery, I hope I said your name right, Coordinator of Library Services, and Carrie Whittaker, Coordinator of Instructional Design. So this is an all-star panel, and I'm going to let them start sharing. Go ahead, Dr. Brinson.
Awesome. Thank you all for allowing us to speak today. If you give me one moment, I'm going to share. And
yeah,
okay,
we see it.
Thumbs up.
See it. Okay.
Okay, good job. See, I love it, LeiLani. You're used to that question. So as shared earlier, my name is Lakisha Brinson, and I have the great privilege of working in Metro Nashville Public Schools. So Music City, where we have over 99 people a day wanting to come into our city. So our time with you today, we're going to spend talking about leadership and systemic inequities. So we have, here's our team of instructional technology and library services. So first, I'm going to give you a background about our district. So in Metro Nashville Public Schools, we are the 2nd largest district in Tennessee. So pretty large. We have over 81,000 students. We are the 38th largest district in the United States. As you read the graphic, you'll see our demographics broken down by percentages. We have 159 schools and over 10,000 staff members. And throughout our discussion today, when we think about inequities and leadership, one of the things that transitioned for us over the last 18 months with the pandemic is, for the first time ever, our district is now a 1-to-1 district with all of our students having Dell laptops. So in MNPS, this is the vision that we ground our work around. We will be established as the premier large school district in Tennessee and beyond. And you're going to hear about this notion of every student known. So this is our fearless leader, Dr. Adrienne Battle. And this is what she shares with us. In Metro Nashville Public School, it's about ensuring that as our students are learning, that they are enjoying it and that they find it fascinating. So that is one way that we help with identifying and eliminating inequities, is by making sure our students are engaged in the work. So in our vision, we talked about every student known. So in our district, we believe that we should have focused outcomes, and our focused outcomes are surrounded in these areas. So in every grade level, there's a focus on literacy, numeracy, attendance, social emotional learning. You're going to see that this is divided into grade bands. So in every grade band, we focus on those focused outcomes. What you'll notice is that the expectations for students, of course, increase with each grade band. So 12th grade, we believe by having every student known that all of our students will be on track for graduation, and that they will continue their social emotional learning experiences. So one of the tie-ins I want to share in terms of literacy to the work that we do in instructional technology and library services is that we help make sure that every student is known by using our learning management platform, which is Schoology. This school year, we're undergoing this pedagogical shift in terms of blended learning and really making sure that our students understand how to teach with technology, so technology integration. And also adopted curriculum interventions and collaborative planning are what our district literacy leaders ground their work in. So this is the question that we are asking today. How do we, as instructional leaders, eliminate systemic inequities? And in just a moment, you're going to hear from my colleagues who are going to dive into the work that they and their teams do every day to eliminate these inequities. So we talked about focused outcomes. Another thing that our district grounds itself in is core tenets. So first I'm going to share with you our district core tenets and then talk about how our department aligns to those core tenets. So as a district, we believe that we will re-envision our office as a support hub, that we are creating rigorous and engaging lessons, that we empower and equip all leaders, and that we identify and eliminate inequities. So our instructional technology team grounds our work in these things. We believe that we meet those focused outcomes and those core tenets by advocating and elevating service and support, various partnerships, internal and external, and by teaching and learning. So I will now turn it over to my colleague, Giumarra Duhart, who will share more about her team and the work that they do to help us identify inequities and eliminate them.
All right. Hello, everyone. I am Giumarra, coordinator for instructional technology. And I'm happy to say that I lead this great team of learning technology specialists in our district. As you can tell, it's during the pandemic with all our masks on. This is the team shown here are the learning tech specialists, and we like to refer to ourselves as the boots on the ground. So we each have approximately 10 to 12 schools each. It all depends on the number of students and teachers in each school. Our team supports, this team here, with the 8 shown, supports pre-K early learning centers. So we have pre-Ks that are separate buildings, which we call early learning centers. And we have some pre-K groups that are located within our elementary schools. So we support, this group here supports K through 8th grade, and Carrie Whittaker, she'll come on later, they support the high schools. And we also support, this group here supports the alternative schools and special education schools. So a quick story about our alternative schools. So when we first developed the list of schools that we should each cover, I actually did not include our alternative and special education schools because most of those schools have a variety of grade levels, you know, pre-K through 12. So I was only thinking in my traditional elementary, middle, high school boxes. So since we are talking about systemic inequities, I thought it would only be appropriate to share this fixable moment I had, a personal growth moment that I had. Long story short, I took on the alternative and special education schools for our department. All right, so more about what we do while we're at the schools. Our role is to support teachers as they integrate technology in a meaningful way. The support includes leading professional learning with a variety of approved district softwares, along with the best teaching practices. And those professional learnings are conducted by grade. It could be by grade level in the school, a full faculty, or one-on-one, which you can imagine was most requested, especially throughout the pandemic. It was a lot of one-on-ones, calming teachers down, helping them feel okay and comfortable in the moment so that they can deliver their lessons, and giving them that individualization that they needed as teachers to be able to support their students and parents. And when I say students and parents, our team also had the opportunity to work the help desk. So our district established a help desk, not only for students and parents, but also our teachers. And we were the instructional piece. So I believe the help desk was open from like 7 in the morning to like 7 at night, where parents and students can call if they just needed help with whatever. And we have a high EL population. So we had translators on the help desk as well. And so we all work together to make sure we support parents and students, walk them through getting on our different platforms such as Schoology and Teams and Clever, and just accessing everything. We were there to, walk them through. So being boots on the ground and in the schools, it gives us an inside view, and the teachers get to have a voice through us, right? We have the opportunity to see what's happening directly in the schools and take that information to the MNPS support hub. We're a direct voice for our teachers because we collaborate and we form the partnerships while we're in the school buildings. And those partnerships include district coaches, even community partners surrounding each individual school. We have the opportunities to work on different grants within the district. And occasionally teachers will allow us to co-teach with them, which we absolutely love because it helps us keep everything in perspective as a group. And as we talk about best practices in integrating technology in our schools. And so that's just a quick peek into the roles of the learning tech specialist. Next, I'm gonna pass the screen to our coordinator of library services, Ms. Lindsey Kimery.
Thank you, Maury. Hi, I'm Lindsey Kimery, a coordinator of library services for Metro Nashville Public Schools. And it is my honor to get to serve the 130 librarians in our school district and to lead a team of 3 librarians. And so together, we enjoy supporting our libraries and librarians. So we do want our students to have equitable library services throughout the district. I believe that librarians have a very unique role in our schools. There's typically just one of them in the building, and they are, through their role, they have the ability to impact students over multiple years. So it's different from a classroom teacher who is with a student, for that 180 days. A librarian may get 4 years, for example. So it is important that our students, have access to their certified school librarian and a wonderful library program. So first, it's important to us to align our libraries with district initiatives. So with Literacy Reimagined being one of our focused outcomes, we have a group of librarians serving on our instructional leader, PLC, and their role is to create lessons and resources that go with each quarter's English language arts scope and sequence. These librarians are very talented librarians, but they're also very talented teachers, and they just are amazing instructors. So it's great to have them working together to create lessons for our other librarians to use and to get ideas from. Also, we have our Equity, Diversity, and Inclusion PLC, and they are working closely with our district office of Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion to examine how our school libraries are addressing EDI through our collections, practices, and policies. We want to be sure that our collections serve our highly diverse student population because, as Dr. Rudine Sims Bishop says, books are windows, mirrors, and sliding glass doors. So we want our students to see themselves in the books and learn about others through the books that we offer. Our EDI team creates resources every quarter to support literacy events and initiatives that librarians can pull resources for and highlight and feature in our schools. Digital citizenship is something that librarians are addressing. We use the Common Sense Media curriculum, and librarians teach 2 digital citizenship lessons to each grade level throughout the year. That's the minimum. Many do a lot more, but it's important that we are supporting our students now that we are a one-to-one district, supporting them even more with not only becoming lifelong readers, but we want them to be, engaged, informed, and responsible digital citizens. Our circulation policies and services, we want to be sure that no matter where a student is attending school in the district, they experience the same expectations and policies surrounding what we provide, what we offer. And then finally, with resources, we provide digital resources for our students, databases for elementary, databases for secondary. And then we have a wonderful partnership through the Nashville Public Library, and it is called Limitless Libraries. And through this partnership, all of our students and staff can receive items, print books from the public library delivered to them at school. And they also have access to all of the online resources, databases, ebooks, digital audiobooks that the Nashville Public Library has to offer. So we are so grateful to have, not only what we can provide, but, 100,000 more resources for our students. So at this time, thank you for letting me share. I'm going to pass it over to my teammate, Carrie Whittaker.
Great. Thank you, everybody. It's great to see you today. So through the instructional design lens, I am Carrie Whittaker, and I'm the coordinator that works with 2 fellow instructional designers to really provide ongoing support and resources for our high schools, but also my team works to support any of the district initiatives and projects that are ongoing throughout. And so overall, our goal is to make sure that we're having equitable access for all, and all meaning all stakeholders within our community, including our teachers and students and parents and so forth. So through that lens, as Lakisha mentioned earlier, through the pandemic, we as a district moved to a one-to-one device implementation. And so we work very closely with the additional departments within technology services to ensure that our students have access to their one-to-one device at school and at home so that they can continue to have that learning experience in whatever environment that they might find themselves in as we are moving through our challenging and very shifting times that we're in at the moment. So as a part of that one-to-one device implementation piece, we wanted to make sure that we're providing professional learning and support for our teachers. And we have also been challenged with getting a return on our investment. So through the tools that our district approves and purchases for all teachers and all students and families, we want to make sure that we're building capacity within each of those groups by providing that learning experience and how to actually implement and use those district tools within their instructional practice and day-to-day. So as a part of our team, we've created a plethora of resources that align with Marzano's instructional strategies on how they look in our traditional in-person, face-to-face, and non-digital format, and how they might look within our digital spaces as well. And so that, again, allows us to be able to really share and model best practices in a lot of variety of different formats, and how we're helping teachers to kind of navigate the different environments that they're teaching in now. And we do that through really looking at personalizing that blended learning, or personalizing learning through that blended learning approach. So we have started shifting our pedagogical approach to more of a blended learning rather than just tech integration, so that we're getting a very intentional and purposeful approach to how technology looks in the classroom, and how we can be very diligent about using all of the devices in a very engaging way for our students. And so through that part, we have had the opportunity to really collaborate with multiple departments within our district. So as Mari mentioned, we have a very high EL population, and so we work very closely with our EL department to support the 120 plus languages spoken within our district, and how we can use our tools in Microsoft and Flipgrid and Immersive Reader to be able to support those students and families, as well as with our exceptional ed department on how we can make our course materials within Schoology more accessible by using a variety of different tools that we have available. So we continue to do that in a variety of different ways. We offer online self-paced professional learning courses. We offer face-to-face or in-person sessions when appropriate for teachers to come in and visit us. We also offer one-on-one support for teachers when they just need a question answered and so forth, as well as providing meetups for Minecraft for our Minecraft Academy, and different consultation requests that we get from numerous sources, and ultimately just trying to focus on what it is that we see as a best fit for our teachers and students, and modeling those best practices for them. So I think I'm going to turn it back over to Lakisha.
Awesome. Thank you, ladies. So we're going to return back to our question, which was, how do we as instructional leaders eliminate systemic inequity? So you just heard from Ms. Duhart, who talked about our learning technology specialists, who are really our boots on the ground, who work with teachers day in, day out, pre-K through 8 teachers, to really help them think through how to use those district-approved tools for instruction for all students. Then you heard from our library coordinator, Lindsey, who shared about all the great work that we have libraries as leaders, other librarians who are getting together to help write out lesson plans so that all of our libraries are having access to quality teaching and learning. And she also shared about 2 important resources we have, one through Limitless Library, which is a resource that all of our students have access to choice of books that they would like delivered to their school, and or ebooks, and also about how we have databases for research, and that our students and teachers can work with parents as well at home. And you just heard from Carrie Whittaker, who talked about the work that our instructional design team does, who also are boots on the ground for our high schools. And they really serve as that district lens for how to make sure that our platforms and that our teaching approaches are not only equitable, but engaging for our students across the district. So we want to say thank you for letting us share a little bit about the work that is going on in Metro Nashville Public Schools. And we will pause now to see if there are any questions.
Okay, so I'm watching for questions, but this is really coordinated, how you guys have worked, and you're kind of a little army, which a lot of schools and districts don't have. So you're lucky, obviously. What would your suggestion be if you were a smaller school or district, how would you focus? You probably spend a lot of time on certain things. So again, what would you focus on?
Yeah, so I'll take that and then let everyone jump in as usual. So yes, we are fortunate, like we have an amazing team. I would say that over and over, and our other 15 members on the team. Of course, we don't think we're large enough, right? We have 150 schools. And when we think about making sure that our teachers are supported in the ways that they need to be in terms of instructional technology, we service one person for every 13 schools, right? So we really think through how to build capacity for our teachers in terms of instructional technology. Lindsey will speak more about library because we are fortunate based on funding to have a librarian in every school, but I'll let her elaborate. But in terms of instructional tech, really, I think identifying those approved resources, right? So you don't have everyone using a million different tools because no one can manage that. But then thinking about systemically how to align what your district priorities are to your team departments. And I'll let Lindsey, Carrie, or Ms. Duhart share anything else.
I'll jump in and speak to libraries. So in Tennessee, Metro is one of 5 districts with a department like library services. So Tennessee has 95 counties. And so there are a lot of librarians in districts, completely on their own. They may be under the wing of someone in their central office, like an English language arts coordinator, for example, but they don't have anyone, who is a librarian at the district office there to answer their questions and provide support and guidance. So I do feel very fortunate in that regard here. I've worked in a district without someone in the district office who, has similar experience as me, and the group of librarians, we were on our own. So we had unofficial point librarians to handle certain issues. We just sort of divided and conquered, and we managed to get things done, but it was not ideal. We constantly felt left out. We constantly felt, like we were having to kind of fight for any sort of seat at the table. So I do feel for the districts who do not have an office like ours, because having come from a district without and being in a district with, I can definitely see the difference.
Yeah. And I guess what I want to say is, Lakisha, you're probably right. There's never enough. And essentially what's happening right now is, even though you guys have more than the average district, you're probably right. You really don't have enough, because in the transition to digital, it's suddenly the school district's running 2 rails, and you literally have stood up a whole sort of second company, right? And you probably need a lot more people because you're running 2 operations now with a lot of people who need a lot of training, and they always will, because software is going to ebb and flow. New resources come in, or we gotta have to do this, and then this other one is like, no, we don't like their terms anymore, so we're going to boot that one. And that'll go on forever. Like as often as we get a Microsoft or Google upgrade or something like that, it's like, every week, and it never ends for the support. So I agree with you on that. But I want to ask one last question of you and your team. Your structure, and I want to preface that with, your structure for the traditional grade and class model. And we're going to go into this conversation later today about the new models, including the Uberization of learning, hybrid logistics, which is purportedly going to seriously address, and it's doing it in places like Nashville ISD in California, systemic inequity based on structure, right? So not every kid's little light bulb goes on math at the same age as all the other little kids, right? They're go on 2 years later, but they were early in language, right? So the human condition is the systemic inequity. When we try to normalize everybody into grade and class structure, we run into endless problems, it means endless band-aiding, right? So the structural conversation is really real nationally this year. So what would your team say to that sort of conversation?
Yeah, I'll lead us and then let the team jump in. I think one of the things we're fortunate is that our superintendent is very centered into what our students need. So we have that initiative, every student known. So we as central office, the teachers, our custodians, every and the original one I showed you core tenets, it said that we're empowering and equipping all learners as leaders, right? So our superintendent has laid that groundwork that she believes that we're all support hub, like we all do the work, to that everyone's a leader. My front office assistant, right? They are a leader in their own right. And that it is our responsibility to make sure that students are identified in the way that matters most to them, right? So really being intentional about looking at the data that comes out, making sure that we have various ways to meet needs, have librarians who can bring in to be that safe space to talk about digital citizenship, that we have our coaches who can really show teachers how to use technology to engage students, to make sure that every student is known. So I'll stop there and let one of my colleagues share anything else that jumps out.
I was just going to say, structurally, that does get kind of complicated because every school is so different. Like I mentioned earlier, how I, left off basically the alternative schools, and at first, because it's just so different, their need is just so different from the traditional schools. So a lot of times when I go into the school, because we actually, when you get to go inside the school and see what's going on, then you realize why maybe they're not doing certain things, because their priorities are way different than for other schools. So individualizing for certain schools, so you have the basics, a structural model that you start off with. But as you talk to teachers, and we have to realize it's more about collaboration, and we're not always the experts. We have content specialists and all those people we always involve before we make decisions. And we're always just flexible. So we'll go in with one thing in mind, and it might change during the conversation that we have with teachers, and that's okay.
Yeah.
So we just keep that in mind, I think, in everything that we do.
That's awesome. Yeah. So you guys are aware and thinking with the high flexibility now being demanded. That's awesome. Okay. Well, great. Well, this has been an awesome share from all of you. And I hope you can stay tuned for the rest of the conversation today. If you can't, we understand, but you can also get back in later and join us again tomorrow. But thank you again, all of you, for sharing with us today. I really appreciate it.
The future of work is changing. Now students are expected to graduate with a foundation in digital literacy and computer science, so they can use technology, create digital artifacts, and design solutions to some of the world's biggest challenges. With Learning.com's award-winning technology curriculum, EasyTech, you and your team of educators ensure that all students are prepared for a career in computer science. Through EasyTech's scaffolded curriculum, you promote digital equity by closing the digital skills gap and giving all students access to authentic learning using technology. The content areas develop students' digital skills like keyboarding and computer fundamentals, build their proficiency in word processing, presentation, spreadsheet, and multimedia tools, and enable them to practice critical thinking and problem solving with computational thinking and design real-world solutions with coding. Across these content areas, students have hands-on and collaborative practice using digital tools and skills that are the foundation to successful technology integration in the classroom. Developed by educators like you, EasyTech has an ISTE seal of alignment and is aligned to national and state-level computer science, digital literacy, and technology standards. Your EasyTech subscription gains you access to its comprehensive curriculum, which features elements like digital lesson plans with an interactive interface that individualize learning based on student performance, hands-on and collaborative projects in which students create original digital artifacts using real software programs, pre- and post-grade level tests designed to measure student growth, and discussion opportunities and other formative check-ins. The program saves teachers time with detailed scope and sequences, pre-built pacing calendars, and digital lesson plans. EasyTech helps your team ensure technology integration in the classroom is student-led, purposeful, and effective with adaptive content and gamified lessons that provide immediate feedback to students. EasyTech is designed for a simple implementation that enables your team to feel comfortable teaching technology even if they don't have prior experience. And with EasyTech's in-depth year-over-year reporting at the individual, classroom, school, and district level, your work is rooted in efficacy.